Rome conquered almost everything: Egypt, Gaul, Britain. No civilization on Earth seemed capable of resisting its disciplined legions and brilliant generals. But deep in the dark, misty forests of northern Europe, the empire met its match. Not in numbers, not in power, but in deception, terrain, and trust. This is the story of how the most powerful army in the ancient world walked into a forest and vanished. At the height of its power, Rome was a machine of conquest. Its legions built roads, bridges, and cities wherever they went. Roman law followed the sword, and the empire's borders expanded faster than any in human history. To the Romans, expansion wasn't just strategy, it was destiny, the natural order of civilization dominating chaos. But beyond the Rhine River lay Germania, a vast, wild land covered in endless forests, rivers, swamps, and fog. It was home to dozens of tribes with no central authority, no cities, no written language, and no interest in being ruled by outsiders. To Romanize, Germania was primitive, but to those who lived there, it was sacred ground. They knew every tree, every hidden path, every stream. Their strength was their land, and they would defend it with everything they had. For years, Roman generals tried to tame this region. They built forts, laid roads, and launched campaigns deep into tribal territory. The empire believed its discipline could conquer anything, but discipline means little when the ground itself turns against you. The forests of Germania weren't just dense, they were alive. Paths disappeared overnight, fog swallowed entire legions, and every sound echoed as if the trees themselves whispered warnings. The terrain shifted constantly, making maps useless and reconnaissance nearly impossible. Roman soldiers, trained for open field battles, found themselves trapped in an environment that erased their greatest advantage: formation. Their tight, rectangular ranks, designed to dominate plains, became suffocating liabilities among the pines. Shields clashed against branches. Horses stumbled in mud. Communication broke down. The organized became disoriented. Still, Rome pressed forward. To them, resistance was temporary, just another challenge before the inevitable victory. And leading one of the key campaigns into Germania was Publius Quinctilius Varus, a decorated general, close to Emperor Augustus himself. Varus was confident, experienced, but above all, he trusted the wrong man. That man was Arminius. Arminius was the son of a Germanic chieftain, but had been taken to Rome as a child. He grew up under Roman rule, trained in its army, learned its language, and earned its citizenship. To the empire, he was the perfect ally, intelligent, loyal, and a bridge between two worlds. He rose through the ranks, serving alongside Roman commanders and earning their trust. But Arminius never forgot who he was. He had seen the empire's power from within, its strengths, its arrogance, and its blind spots. He knew that Rome believed loyalty could be bought, that every tribe could be divided, that its enemies could be civilized. He planned to use that belief against them. In the year 9 AD, Varus prepared to march his 3 legions, about 20,000 men, into Germania to suppress a supposed uprising. Arminius, his trusted ally, assured him it would be an easy campaign. The tribes were restless, he said, but nothing the legions couldn't handle. So they marched, through valleys, over rivers, and finally into the thick forests of Teutoburg. What Varus didn't know was that there was no rebellion. The uprising was a lie, a trap orchestrated by Arminius himself. As the Roman columns stretched miles through narrow forest paths, rain began to fall. The roads turned to mud, wagons broke, the legions grew disorganized, vulnerable. Then, the forest exploded with sound. War cries, spears, arrows raining from the trees. Germanic warriors poured from the mist, attacking from every side. The Romans tried to form up, but the terrain was impossible. There was no open ground, no room for cavalry, no visibility. The discipline that made them invincible on the battlefield only made them slower here. For 3 days, the ambush continued. The forest swallowed the legions whole. The Germans fought like ghosts, appearing, striking, vanishing. By the end, it wasn't a battle. It was a massacre. 3 legions were wiped out, their banners captured, their eagles, the sacred symbols of Roman pride, taken. Very few survivors ever made it back to Roman territory. When news reached Rome, the empire was in shock. The mighty legions, undefeated for generations, had vanished in a forest they thought they controlled. Emperor Augustus reportedly tore his clothes in grief, shouting, "Varus, give me back my legions!" The defeat at Teutoburg Forest didn't just cost Rome soldiers, it shattered its illusion of invincibility. For the first time, the empire realized there were limits to its power, and those limits were marked by the Rhine River. Germania became the line Rome would never cross again. But to understand why this defeat mattered so much, we have to look deeper. Rome had conquered larger territories before: Egypt, Carthage, Gaul. But those lands offered open ground, cities, wealth, and clear hierarchies that Rome could exploit. Germania offered none of that. It was a land without roads, without central leadership, and without fear of death in the same way Rome understood it. The tribes didn't fight for conquest or territory. They fought for survival. They didn't seek glory in victory, only freedom. That made them unpredictable, untamable, and nearly impossible to defeat. Even after Teutoburg, Rome tried to strike back. Generals like Germanicus led campaigns to recover the lost standards and punish the tribes. They won some victories, temporary, bloody, and meaningless in the end. Germania could not be held. Every time Rome built a road, the forest reclaimed it. Every time they erected a fort, it fell to the rain and rot. The land itself rejected empire. In the end, the Rhine became both a border and a warning, a line separating civilization from wilderness, and perhaps arrogance from humility. The defeat forced Rome to change how it thought about expansion. No longer was conquest the answer to every problem. Diplomacy, trade, and defense became equally important. The empire's focus shifted inward, to maintaining what it had already gained. Teutoburg was not just a military loss, it was psychological. It taught Rome that terrain, culture, and trust could outweigh sheer force. Arminius didn't win because he was stronger. He won because he understood his enemy, their confidence, their habits, their blind spots. And that's why his victory still resonates today. It's a timeless reminder that power means little without awareness, that arrogance blinds even the most advanced civilizations, that trust, once misplaced, can destroy empires. Rome never forgot Teutoburg. Centuries later, emperors would still visit the Rhine and stare across its waters, knowing that beyond that line lay the land that refused to be conquered. The forest became a legend, a place where the world's greatest army disappeared, where maps ended and myth began. And maybe that's why the story endures, because it's not just about Rome and Germania, it's about all of us, about ambition meeting reality, about the dangers of pride, about what happens when power underestimates the unknown. So next time you hear that Rome conquered the known world, remember, it didn't conquer all of it. Some places, and some people, refused to bow. The forest still stands. The wind still moves through those ancient trees, whispering the same warning it gave 2,000 years ago. Even empires fall,